What's up everyone, welcome back to another video. Today we're going to continue on with my perspective drawing series. Today we're going to learn about 3 points perspective from a worm's eye point of view. Now what is a worm's eye point of view? Now a worm's eye point of view is basically a form of perspective in which you are looking from the bottom, looking up from the bottom. So it's like you're from the point of view from a worm. Of course there are other points of views, like the bird's eye point of view, in which you're looking from an aerial view. So that's basically what it is, and I'm just going to illustrate a little bit of what 3-point perspective is. 3-point perspective is basically the same as my other perspective diagrams, only it's a little bit more complicated. You know what? Let me go and get them. Alright, so I could only find my 2-point perspective diagram, and this is what 2-point perspective is compared to 3-point perspective. You know what, let me put them side by side if I can. The basics are the same. We have a horizon line. This is the horizon line in which the horizon sits on it, and this is the horizon line right here. As you can see, the horizon line. And in which 2-point perspective, there are 2 points, 1 point here, 1 point here, and they just come toward, and I put a little block there with some shading in it. But with the 3-point perspective, things are a little bit different. There are 2 points, and then there's another point right up there. This is a little, so it's a little bit different. It's not like it's not too different, but it is quite different from it. So I'm just gonna show you why we need these lines. I've never really talked about why we need these lines in 3-point perspective. Now, if I want to draw a building, and let's just say I want to add another building, right? I want to add another building, and it looks like this, right? And no, that's not the point of view we are looking at from here. I'm just gonna erase it. That's not the point of view that we're looking for. Which is why we have this line right here, so that we could say, oh, this is a parallel line, so I have to go parallel like that, and then continue on with this line, parallel to that, and then parallel with this line, like that. And this is why it's so important to know about perspective, and that's how you add another building to this diagram. So what we're going to do today is we're going to do basically the same thing, only we're going to be drawing an illustration of the Eiffel Tower in 3-point perspective. Well, let's get into it. Alright, so what I've done is I have done this big. I have drawn this horizon line through right here, right? This horizon line right here, and I've put the 3 points. But keep in mind, these 2 points are not what we're aiming for. I'm just putting it there so you know what I'm trying to do here. So one line goes up, and you can pause the video and see what I'm doing here, but beware, because I put the point a little bit too far, and you might not want to put the well, in my case, I don't want to put it out of frame, but if you are drawing perspective, it is sometimes good to keep it as far away as possible. And this is a little bit how we're going to keep it to 3D, sort of thing. I'm definitely not doing this. I'm definitely not doing this without reference. I'm not flying blind. I am definitely using a lot of reference. I'm just gonna brush away some of the eraser lines. Now I'm gonna continue to add the lines. We're not getting into the real illustration yet, but we will. So let's kick it back into time lapse, and I'll be right back. Alright, so what I've done is I've just I've taken more points here, and I've just made more of these lines, all going toward these 3 points. And I've already explained why we need all these lines in the diagram. To add these buildings right here, we need the parallel lines and everything, and to see how they all fan out like that, and which is why we're going to be using that sort of thing. Well, I think we're almost done with the lines. I just need to add some lines inside the triangle, and we'll be right back. Alright, so what I've done is I just put 3 lines in inside each of the ends of the triangles, and try not to smudge these lines because they're all in pencil. Well, now we're going to get in with the real line art. We're going to start drawing the Eiffel Tower, and beware, lots of this will be in time lapse, but well, I will be back to talk a little bit more about what I did. I'm just gonna go dark with the lines now. This is a Dixon Ticonderoga, and I've gone as light as I possibly could. Now I'm gonna try to go a little bit darker, so let's get into it. Alright, so I've used these guidelines that we put in all the lines that we were like, why do we have to put in the lines? Well, we've used them to create the Eiffel Towers, these how we draw these and see perspective. And I'm actually quite pleased with how this is turning out. With the past perspective videos, now why we made so many lines is that so we could separate these into sections, because the Eiffel Tower is all sections, right? And then now I'm going to do like that. Just add this little hole in there. That's what the Eiffel Tower looks like. And now I'm gonna go add another section and then come down to the very ending. Maybe I'll just add another line, perhaps, and we'll be back. Alright, so I finished up this area. I'm gonna pull down so we can focus on what we're trying to do here, which is this bottom area. Now I'm going to go like the very iconic round at the very bottom of the Eiffel Tower, and like that. And later we're gonna have to erase these guidelines that helped us with the perspective drawing and everything, but we don't really want them in the end of the illustration. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna erase them after we create this what was it, the stands? I don't know what these curved lines that at the base of the Eiffel Tower. So now bear with me for a little. I'm going to go through with the what would you call it, the bottom, these bases of the Eiffel Tower. Alright, so now that we're finished with this base, I'm just going to, what I'm going to do is I'm going to move this illustration down and start to work a little bit on this area. But first of all, I want to just clarify here that I have erased these guidelines, and now we're going to go on to the top. Maybe later we'll erase the guidelines up here too. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to leave these lines here just to clarify that this is, just to indicate that this is a perspective lesson. So now we're going to go, I'm gonna do this in real time. It's almost gonna be like a hat on top of the Eiffel Tower, and there's gonna be like a cross on top, and that's basically how you do the Eiffel Tower. And then there's this V here, now I'm going to start adding some details because Eiffel Tower is like X's all over it, right? So I'm gonna do that in time lapse, because this is not exactly a lesson on how to draw the Eiffel Tower. This is a perspective lesson, but I think you probably will get the idea of how I do this. So let's get into it. Alright, so what I'm gonna do now is I'm going to I have finished up these X's and stuff, and I'm going to I haven't gotten into much detail, but I think this is basically it, the Eiffel Tower. I'm going to darken in the lines with my trusty ebony Prismacolor graphite pencil, the jet black. well, it's the package. It sort of makes you think that it is a jet black and completely black Prismacolor pencil, but keep in mind it is not. It is more of a very dark gray. So what I'm going to do is I'm just gonna do that in time lapse, and I'll be right back with some final words. Alright, so that's my video on 3-point perspective, and be sure to check out my other perspective videos, which is I'll put a link to the full playlist in the description box below. I've got a 1-point and a 2-point videos, and I think we're done with this video. This doesn't need anymore. I just added some shading, and the graphite pencil, of course, was really great. And if you haven't already, please subscribe to my channel. I always appreciate it when I get another subscriber. But yeah, thanks for watching, and I will catch you next time.